For the last several years, Drake has had a complicated relationship with the media. Ever since his February 2014 Rolling Stone cover story, Drake vowed to never again do traditional magazine press again. In the article, Rolling Stone published an interview with Drake in which the interviewer asked him about Kanye West's latest album at that time, Yeezus. The article quoted Drake by saying, "There were some real questionable bars on there. Like that Swahili line? Come on, man, even Fabulous wouldn't say some ish like that." Drake immediately responded publicly in a series of tweets condemning the magazine by saying, quote, "I'm done doing interviews for magazines. I just want to give my music to the people. That's the only way my message gets across accurately. I'm disgusted with that. RIP to Philip Seymour Hoffman, all respect due, but the press is evil. I never commented on Yeezus for my interview portion of Rolling Stone. They also took my cover from me last minute and ran the issue," unquote. The late actor Philip Seymour Hoffman passed away unexpectedly on February 2nd, 2014. So the magazine wanted to honor the actor with the cover story, which meant that Drake would no longer be on the cover of the magazine as previously promised. Shortly after his Twitter rant, Drake released a statement on his blog titled "Tough Day at the Office," in which he stated that, quote, "I completely support and agree with Rolling Stone replacing me on the cover with the legendary Philip Seymour Hoffman. He is one of the most incredible actors of our time and a man that deserves to be immortalized by this publication. My frustration stems from the way it was executed. The circumstances at hand are completely justifiable on the magazine's behalf, but I was not able to salvage my story or my photos, and that was devastating. They ran the issue without giving me a choice to be in it or not. I would have waited until it was my time because I understand the magnitude of the cover they chose, but I just wasn't given that option, and that made me feel violated. I apologize to anybody who took my initial comments out of context because in no way would I ever want to offend the Hoffman family or see myself as bigger than the moment," unquote. Ever since this incident, Drake has largely distanced himself from all things media and press, with exceptions for occasional promotional interviews such as shows he produces such as Euphoria or Top Boy. Things changed in December 2019 when we finally received the long-awaited and highly anticipated 2-hour-long Drake interview with Elliott Wilson and Bryant B. Miller from the music publication Rap Radar. In the interview, Drake touched on pretty much everything from his beefs with Pusha T, Meek Mill, Kanye West, ghostwriting, getting booed at Camp Flog Gnaw Festival, cultural appropriation, and so much more. Since that interview, Drake hasn't had any major substantial interviews since then. Lately, Drake has had sporadic and unconventional sit-down conversations with people such as his friend and fellow rapper Lil Yachty, Caleb Presley, the host of Sunday Conversations for Barstool Sports, and more recently, a new podcaster on the scene, Bobby Althoff, the host of the Really Good podcast. Bobby rose to social media fame through her TikTok as a mommy vlogger, where she has amassed hundreds of thousands of followers and millions of views on each video. Bobby's recent interview with Drake has already accumulated millions of views upon its release, as the sneak peeks and previews for the Drake episode caused many users on social media to feel both excitement for the reality of the rarity of a Drake interview coming to fruition, and also feeling perplexed on where Bobby came from and how she was able to secure an interview with one of the biggest artists in the music industry. One of those people will be Rap Radar CEO himself, Elliott Wilson, who took to Twitter to voice his opinion on the superstar's interview with Bobby. Elliott said in a tweet, quote, "Moment of clarity. No disrespect to Lil Boat. Yachty's convo with the boy was comfy and had some cool moments. I was more so clowning the comedy shenanigans with outsiders to our culture. It would be great to hear Drake speak to us again, even if it ain't me," unquote. Drake decided to fire back at Elliott by replying in the comment section to a video clip posted by DJ Academics of Elliott Wilson interviewing rapper Trippie Redd. Drake said, quote, "LOL, man on me for not coming to his platform for a second time, and now Elliott 10 toes doing Yes Jules run-up interviews at Rolling Loud. Just admit the youth took over, big dog," unquote. Aside from that, many people on Twitter have also shared similar levels of confusion on how Bobby was able to land interviews with two of hip-hop's biggest stars. One person said, "This woman must have the craziest dirt on the entire industry. Like, how do you get Drake and Yachty for your first 2 episodes?" Another tweet comparing her interview style to the host of The Chicken Show, Amelia de Moldenberg, saying she wants to be Amelia so bad. And there was another user who said, "The fact that this lady popped up out of thin air and is getting some high-level interviews is crazy. I get why Elliott Wilson felt some type of way, cause this ain't the culture at all." With the influx of many new age interviewers or podcasters that have the unconventional, awkward, comedic style of dry humor, such as Bobby, Funny Marco, Caleb, or Amelia, I feel like it shows a shift in celebrities no longer wanting to engage in traditional, generic, and monotonous sit-down interviews. There is one tweet that said, "The Drake interview with Bobby is way more interesting than a formal interview at this point in his career. With superstars as big as Drake, people want to see their everyday human side. That podcast brought that out." And there was another tweet that said, they mad that Drake is doing interviews with Bobby Althoff and not them because they want to ask him about Pusha T, Rihanna's pregnancy, and BBLs under the guise of real journalism. I agree with both tweets because while it is nice and sometimes essential to have those super serious interviews where our favorite artists are discussing relevant topics and scandals in their lives, it is nice to have interviews where the interviewer and the interviewee aren't taking themselves too seriously. At this point, Drake knows that most of the media and fans have many questions about his personal life and various rap beefs, but I appreciate these types of interviews where we get to see Drake's comedic side, which balances out with his 2019 Rap Radar interview. Though I understand Elliot's point of view about Drake rarely doing interviews with people of the culture such as Elliot and B. Dot, The Breakfast Club, Drink Champs, Sway, Funk Flex, and even Ebro in the Morning, who also criticized Drake for never showing up to have anything to say about anything going on in society with black people or anything other than himself, Drake probably just wants to have fun and participate in lighthearted, funny conversations without being questioned on his alleged rivalry with Kendrick Lamar. Even Elliot's co-host B. Dot echoed social media users' pleas by tweeting that interviewers should stop asking Dame about Jay-Z and the Rockefeller split, stop asking Ja Rule about 50 Cent, stop asking Kelly about Beyonce, stop asking Lil Wayne about finding Drake and Nicki, stop asking Pusha T about Drake, and stop asking Irv about Ashanti. Essentially saying that these topics are tired, and it's time to expand conversational subjects when talking to or about a celebrity. Even though this is a different field, I feel like the same situation is happening with the NBA, as we have entered the era of the quote-unquote new media. So many podcasts and sports shows hosted by NBA players such as Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Paul George, Serge Ibaka, JJ Redick, and probably one of the most popular shows, All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, have become the new home for current and former players to share exclusives and untold stories. Players who start their own podcast or on guests on a fellow player's podcast participate because it feels comfortable, open and honest, and it is a safe space to have raw dialogue without the seriousness, hostility, and tense atmosphere that the typical sports talk show have offered. Overall, let me know what you all thought of Drake's interview with Bobby Althoff, and if you feel Drake should or should not do more interviews with people of the culture at this point in his career. Do you think at a certain point, it is fine for established artists to stray away from interviews and to communicate with their fans whenever they feel is the most appropriate time? Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.